Hey, what's up, everybody? We are the American Entourage. This is our first episode, so this is going to be probably a little bit awkward, you know what I'm saying? It's the first time, like, I've been doing this shit for a long time. These dudes over here, they're rookies, so we're just going to see how this goes on our inaugural episode, but we're glad that you're watching. In the past, I've done the Sales Finesse Show and the Hardcore Closer podcast, and they're all about business and sales and stuff. This one's a little different. You know, we're just going to talk about like things going on in America. Sometimes it'll be business success stories. Sometimes it'll be current events. But it just give us you a chance, the audience, a chance to really get to know us as individuals and like how we think and stuff, and then also hopefully provide some entertainment. So I'm your host, Ryan Stewman. This is my man, VP of Hardcore Closer and Break Free Academy, and full-time host here on American Entourage, Patrick Grabs. And then this is one of our top sales producers, Josh VanCura, today hanging out. So what's up, fellas?
What's up? What's up, man?
Man, you know, how y'all feel being on the podcast, man? It's your first podcast ever?
This is my first podcast ever, and I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So, and I know that you've tried to do a couple before,
Yeah.
so like, and you know, you've been on video, you're getting a little bit more comfortable.
We tried to do one a while back. I tried to set up something kind of something like we call it social contempt a while back.
I remember that.
Yeah, and
We don't stand for this injustice.
So a little bit on it, but yeah, also try to do more live streams and getting out there, becoming a voice is pretty cool. So
Yeah, man,
appreciate
so-
the opportunity, man.
Yeah, we're gonna have, you know, the thing I want to do is just have some conversations, you know, and shit, we might as well just get right into it.
Yeah.
You know, we live in Texas, and we've had, you know, obviously the floods down in Houston has been a big deal, and you know, a lot of people don't even know really what's going on, you know, especially if you live somewhere, like let's just say you live in Nevada, right? And you have no idea what rain looks like. First of all, if you live in Nevada, you're like, rain, fuck is that stuff, right? So, so you can't really comprehend, and I know it's weird when like, I remember last year, or maybe the year before, when Brentwood, Tennessee flooded. You remember that?
Yeah.
All those like $1 million homes went underwater and stuff. It didn't really get much attention because it was rich people, and it's hard to be sympathetic for rich people, you know what I mean? But it was like, they were definitely affected, and you know, we live in Dallas, and we don't really see too many floods, except for last year, if you remember, Northwest Highway went underwater, right? Like I lived in the penthouse over there, and we were 15 floors up, and the street that was like right there next to the penthouse was completely submerged in water. So it's just crazy how like Mother Nature could do that. But anyway, so we were talking about Katrina, right? Because you've been looking up Katrina and checking it out. And so like a lot of people probably just like us didn't even know what the hell a levee and stuff was. You just like, the levee broke, you hear something, it's like, it's a woozy, it's a wazi.
Well, I heard y'all talking about it a minute ago, but I was kind of focused on getting everything set up. But what the fuck is a levee? Because y'all were going over it, so
like you got a dam,
Yeah.
right? It's like you got a lake, you go out to the lake, you got a big ass dam, usually there's a road over the dam. So the dam is like this dirt on top of the levee. Like the levee is the embankment at the bottom. And so what happens though, if like the water's rushing from the lake or whatever, right? Or the river's into the lake, however, fuck that, I need that pen anyway. It's going through there, then what happens, they got these tubes that are open that let the water come out. Well, as there's water rushing there, just like anything else, it saturates the dirt, right? And so eventually when dirt gets saturated, it gets less dense, and then obviously if it implodes, the levee implodes, then the dam comes down on top of it, and then all the water can run out there. So a levee is a part of the control mechanism to let a certain amount of overflow out to where that doesn't happen. But if it gets too saturated, it breaks. And it looks like there's been 2 or 3 levees broke in Houston so far as well. You know, sometimes it's not necessarily just the flood and the rain that does the damage, but it's the flow of the water, you know, stream going downhill, obviously into the coast in Houston's sake. So
Absolutely. We went down there. And it was,
that's right, you were there, man.
yeah,
I totally
it was,
forgot.
It was crazy when we were driving down there, man. We were on the highway, and you could look over to the right, and you could see the phone poles underwater and see like 3 feet of it. That's it. And they had everything blocked off. When we got down there, you know, Ryan Nichols, you know, he kind of. He was like, man, we got to get out of here in the water. We got to get these people rescued. Man,
this is in Houston, right?
This
Y'all
is
went
in
to
Houston.
Houston.
Yeah, so we did a live video. Ryan did a live video, and man, we had like text messages coming through. People were sending all of us DMs saying like, hey, my family's trapped over here. Can you go here? And we got all these different addresses of like where they want us to go. Man, we get out there, and the sheriffs are blocking off every part of the water. Hey, we can't get in here. You can't get in here. So we ended up sneaking off, going down this one little road, got down to this water, and Ryan and Mike, we got all me, Travis, Ryan, Mike, we got the boat, got it in the water, man. And I mean, the current was just, and the little boat's just, you know, trying to topple over. They're trying to get it started. We ended up not being able to get it started, but a guy ran down there and told us, he was like, hey man, like, if you guys go that way, you're gonna die. He goes, there's 3-foot waves down there in the creek. If you guys go that way, you're going to get swept in that current, and those 3-foot waves are going to take you. But that's where the people were. That's where the people were trapped out down there. And it's serious, man. It's serious business down there right now with the amount of water they got. There was an officer came up and talked to us and said that some of the spots in Houston were 40 feet underwater. 40 feet underwater.
Wow. You think like people that don't know, we just got back from Costa Rica.
Yeah.
So people that don't know, you think, 3-foot waves, like, what can 3 foot be? But man, that's a lot. That's a lot. And so there was like 8-foot waves in the Hermosa Beach where we were at. And dude, there was multiple times where and I'm just standing on the beach. We're not even surfing at this point, where the water would come in and push you and you like brace yourself, but the riptide would make you fucking flip back into the water, man. So I can only imagine like rushing water from broken levees and creeks and floods.
Houses,
and then 3-foot waves on top of it. That's like a whitewater rafting excursion. You know what I'm saying? Like that's some serious shit. And I watched this movie one time. I can't remember what the hell it was called, but it was like about this tsunami in Thailand, and it was like this rendition where as the wave came in and it took over things, it's like you're not just fighting water. We lost our logo, man. Wonder what's up with that.
We did lose our logo.
Yeah, cameraman, we lost our logo on
Maybe
but so we're not just fighting you wouldn't be just fighting the water. Like, let's say the water picks up a fucking car and then the car's fucking smacking you over. You know what I'm saying? You get hit by a goddamn trailer house or something like that, man. It's like a game changer. So you down there like rescuing people, like being a real hero and shit like that. So like what would the people say that were like, that you pulled them out? Like what caused them to stay? Because that's like a big thing to me. It's like, I know the mayor fucked up, right? And we'll talk about that in a minute. But like, I know the mayor fucked up, but still, like, if I had an inkling of an idea, like I would have left Dallas when they were saying, hey, it's going to flood where you're at. I would have left. I'm 15 stories in the air. I got nothing to worry about. You know what I mean? And so, but I couldn't imagine staying in Houston. So like, what did the people say?
They were just saying, like, obviously they were told that it wasn't going to be that bad.
Yeah.
And it ended up being a huge disaster. And I don't want to take any credit because I didn't pull anybody out of anything. We didn't get a chance to. I went down there with the best intentions, and they wouldn't let any of us in the water.
You weren't pulling
No,
coming out of the thing?
Man, we were down there, man. I had my knife. We had all our guns. We had all of our equipment with us because they said people were shooting at people. They were pretending like they needed to be rescued, and they were trying to shoot you and steal your boat, right? Instead of just getting on the boat and being rescued anyway, like a good person would. But they didn't want to do that, so they weren't letting us out there. So I didn't get a chance to actually get out there. But Ryan, Travis, and Mike Long, and Dana, they've been out there and they've actually been rescuing people and doing rescue missions. In fact, they actually had the police with them last night on each one of the boats that they had down there. The one officer was on each boat going out there with them to rescue people. And I think they rescued like 50 people out of an apartment building. But Ryan said that 20 of the people decided to stay back. Or a lot of people decided to stay in their apartment that was 4 feet underwater.
Wow.
What the fuck do you do with a 4-foot underwater apartment?
I have no idea.
Like,
go fishing in your living room?
But he might have it. They might have like a nice setup upstairs, right?
Yeah,
with
if you're on the second floor, I mean, your room isn't
Yeah.
flooded. You know what I mean? But it was 3 feet of water, but still, like, I'd be like, yeah, man, let me get up out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But then again, getting up out of there, if you got food at your house,
Yeah, if you got,
you know what I'm saying, getting up out of there could be a bitch, because then you're like, where am I going to go?
Where am I
You got
gonna
old
sleep?
people and kids.
Stubborn college kids.
Well, you mentioned
shit.
the cars
Yeah,
being
ain't going
tossed
nowhere.
at you and stuff like that in the water, but they also have reports of tons of alligators and bull sharks in the water out there.
I saw a
Fucking
picture of a
disaster.
shark, but it could have been some fake. I think it might have been a fake shit on there.
They were
really
confirmed
sharks.
bull sharks, and bull sharks are aggressive. They're big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and they're like river
They
monsters.
they're
They
hungry.
go up lakes or go up streams. And
That's
it was-
crazy, man.
It was definitely crazy.
Could you imagine when we crossed that river in Costa Rica if we'd have seen a bull shark in that bitch?
Yeah, I'd be done.
Dude, there was
I'd
this
be
thing
done.
that was like, it was no wider than this table, man. And it was like, it looked like just some like calm thing, but you step in it, it wasn't ankle deep, the motherfucker go up to your neck. And it didn't look like it because it was dark water. Like, and we would have never known it except for there was an old dude that come across and he stepped in it and it went up to his neck and I went, oh shit, we're gonna have to jump over this one.
That gets deep pretty quick.
Yeah, he went immediately in, right? It wasn't any grace period.
I saw some of the stingrays jumping out of the water at least 10 or 12 feet away from us. I mean, that's pretty damn close, but even seeing them things, I was like, I mean, that's Steve Irwin got knocked off from that.
Up, man.
That's a freak accident.
We fed stingrays this week. I took the boys.
Did they get close
Sunday.
to you?
Yeah, so like you put these little minnows in your hand, these little dead fish, and they come and they suck them out. So they can't bite you. They don't really have teeth. They just suck. They're like little suction cups on the
So
bottom.
it's a barb on their tail, though, right?
But that's what got Steve
Yeah.
Irwin. Yeah.
At the
Oh, that's
moment,
removed.
They're removed.
Yeah.
So like when you're able to touch them, they have all their barbs removed.
Yeah.
So they're not trying to fuck with you, nothing like that? Like you're like,
Nah, they was trying to eat. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? They were like, "Oh, you got some minnows, motherfucker!" Right? They were pretty excited. Yeah.
what it feel like?
They like Like the inside of a vagina, to be honest with you.
It's the closest thing. What else can feel like that?
That's not the best way that I can explain it. It was really smooth.
An
It
apple
felt
pie.
great to the touch, and it was wet.
Real warm. Was it warm?
Good thing they didn't have those on American Pie. That'd be a different story.
Right? Poor stingray. And they suck. Damn it, man. How do we go there really quick?
That went left.
That did go a little bit left. It's like I was feeding my kids at the zoo. The next thing you know, we're comparing stingrays to vaginas. This is awesome. All right, but that's why we have the podcast, man. So,
Of course, can go any way.
but you know that you and Alex were talking about. Alex is on the other side of the cameras here, and you and him were talking about seeing stingrays. You saw a whale out there too,
I saw
right?
2 whales breach out there, and that was pretty intense.
Breach. What do you mean?
Like the breach is when they jump out of the water.
Oh,
That's the code word for it.
I thought that was like code for whale fucking. Like I seen 2 whales breaching.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
they were
They was out there
I think-
breaching.
They think they do it probably to get pussy. That's the main reason. They go up and
That's
just
why
come out and
everything
bam,
does everything on this
yeah.
planet.
You do any cool shit. So that's what. Yeah, that was the first time I ever seen whales and the first time I ever saw stingrays up close. So I mean, definitely experience. But I don't know if I saw a whale come up close to me, like some people talk about, like they go out there and they see a whale come up. Man, I don't know, man. That's close. That's close.
They're big too, man.
Yeah.
You know, I was in
They see it
Huntington
lurking.
Beach surfing one time, man, and I was on probably a 10 or 12 foot board and real low waves, and I'm out there floating by the dam, and there was a fish that swam under me that was bigger than my
Yeah.
surfboard. I'm like, oh shit, it's time to pack it up. I'm done for the day, man.
Well, I'm not trying to get out there in that deep water like that, man.
The good thing is if you're on top of the board, you're safe because they can't come out of the water. You know what I'm saying? But a dangling leg could be fucked off really
the sharks
quick.
can come out of the water.
Yeah, the big ones, I guess.
Killer whales. They'll
Killer
come out and
whales.
knock you
They're
out.
aggressive. They're not
Yeah.
even nice like they look on TV.
Turns out there's a reason they don't call them ocean ponies. Who'd have guessed?
Soft whales, nice whales.
With a name like Killer Whales, we thought you'd have a great personality.
They're
We thought it was like Killer Whales, man.
Not like dolphins.
Like Michael Myers out there. Michael Myers of the ocean.
I was in Tampa one time, and so like I'd never been to SeaWorld or, at this point in my life, I'd never even been to California, right? So it was like 2009. And so this is like one of the first trips I ever went on. I went out to Tampa, and I was still on parole, right? And so like I was still on federal probation, whatever you want to call it. But I was like, I've been on the probation long enough to where like you can smoke weed maybe, and I hadn't been drug tested in a long time, and I had the right to be there in Florida. So the guy there, he had some weed, right? So this is the first time I smoked weed in like 3 years. And so like I got high at the house where we were supposed to go deep sea expedition fishing, right? But the fucking Florida, sometimes it just don't stop raining. So it didn't stop raining for us to go out there. So we went over to this rich dude's house. This dude has like a 57-foot yacht. It looked like shit we seen in Miami, like it's just back porch with fucking giant yachts and stuff on it, right? So anyway, he got some really good weed because he got a lot of money and shit like that, right? So I get high. First time I got high in 3 years. The first thing I think of is, oh God, I hope they don't drug test me when I get back, right? You start getting paranoid and shit like that.
Yeah.
They'd be like, one of the side effects of drugs is paranoia. It's like, maybe if it was legal, that side effect would go away. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good one.
Right. You're paranoid
Damn.
because you're worried about the ramifications of this motherfucker, not from the motherfucker itself. But anyway, I go out to the dam, or not the dam, the dock behind his house where the boat is, right? And so he's like, the rich dude's showing me this boat. He's like, and this is the engine room, and it's like 4 stories tall. It's fucking badass, right? It's a 57-foot Viking, if you look that up. So probably a couple $1 million boat, right? And so I'm standing on the dock next to it, and like out of nowhere, the fucking flipper just comes up out, you know what I'm saying? Like the little shit like splashes its tail on me. I said, hi, man. I thought it was a fucking shark, man. Like, shit myself. I pulled a Scooby-Doo on the deck. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to run, but I couldn't get nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I was running so fast, I was running in place. Yeah. And the dude that's with me, he's from Florida, right? He's like, man, what the hell are you scared of that dolphin for? It's like, oh, that's a dolphin? I thought that was a shark coming for us, man. I thought for real that was a shark. Oh, man. That was my first encounter with a dolphin, man. I was scared to death of them. So you think that it'd be cool seeing dolphin too, but then you never know. Dolphin fucking.
If you see it, man, you're down in the water with it. It's got teeth, so.
You never know. It farts on the top of its head, right? There's got to be some kind of fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like there's got to be some kind of frustration. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I got an asshole on top of my head. Do I look like I'm in the mood to fuck around today? Right?
But if he's flashed up with his tail, and you saw him, and then you hear, you've seen his face, and then you heard. that's disarming, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to chill for a second, you know?
Like they knew the guy. So like apparently this dolphin comes back there and they throw him shit all the time.
okay.
So he's like literally like a flipper. You know what I'm saying? Like all the neighbors know the guy. Kind of like the turtles behind our country club. You know, we're like, oh, that's the alligator turtle. You like, you know what I'm saying? So
you
That's
see me?
Mr. Grumpy right there.
exactly. Exactly.
So let me ask you this, Ryan, though. Man, you know, so since you're a business owner and you understand ramifications of having people in your stuff, how do you feel about the Joel Osteen situation down there in Houston?
That's a good question. You know, in situations like this where people are dying and flooded and families losing homes, it's hard to make a decision that's going to make everybody happy. You know, it's another thing about being a person of authority, whether you're the president or the wealthiest preacher in the country, and you can't always make everybody happy. You know, I don't know the whole I don't know the whole situation down there. So like I'm not inspecting his church or whatever, but I can look at it from like I can play devil's advocate here. So on one hand, you got a community that is saying, hey, we need help. You got a big ass place, help us out, right? On the other hand, you have a church is a business, whether you want to admit it or not, right? Like some people like church isn't business, bullshit, church is business. Joel Osteen makes $70 million a year. They pull $700,000 per service, 8 services a weekend out of that motherfucker. It is a business, right? So like make no mistake about that. He's in that shit for the money, right? Like, and so if not, then he wouldn't live in a 40,000 square foot home and all that other stuff. He, you know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not knocking him. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. But when you have a business like that, so like the community church, let's say the old Methodist church that has a 200-person congregation up the street, they can let people in because nobody's really going to sue them because they ain't really got any fucking money, right? Somebody goes in the Compact Center, they can hide somewhere in there. It's a big facility. You know what I mean? They could hide. There's plenty of assets that they could steal or loot in there. You get the wrong person in there, they might kill other church members, like what happened at the Superdome that you were talking about. And so it's a lot of risk letting people in. That's one of the bad things about sometimes you get too big. You know what I mean? But it's the same thing as like if DC got in trouble, Trump's not going to be able to open the White House to him either. You know what I mean? There's too much shit inside the White House for the average person to just be able to grasp on. And then if you throw the Compact Center probably holds, which is where Joel's church is, probably holds, 10,000 people, I would imagine, in a service. So if you put 10,000 people in there, I mean, that's a lot of responsibility. It's one thing for an hour and then they leave. It's another to feed them and house them and keep them for a couple days. And like if somebody dies, they could say that Joel's team neglected them. So, I mean, he really opens himself to a liability. But here's what I really think happened. Okay, that's devil's advocate. But here's what I really think happened. I really think this place probably got a little flooded. And he's probably like, it's already fucked up. And I just don't think that we should let people in. I think it's just safe. And I talked to my daddy in my prayers, and I just think that it's safe. He's always, what the fuck is he so squinty for? Like, open your eyes, Joel! Fuck, look me in my eyes when you take my money, you motherfucker! But anyway, right, he got tall ass hair, receding hair, like pasty as fuck. Listen, my daddy, he always talk about his daddy. He's like, our Father God, I think you got the two confused, bro.
He
all the time, he always talk about his dad. And so, but again, when I think what happened was Joel Osteen was like, we just can't let these people in here. It's just a bad idea for business and a bad idea to put the risk on them. And so we'll just say it's flooded. But here's where like the plot twist comes in. I would assume that, Pat and I, we're not Christians. You know what I'm saying? We're not anti-God, but at the same time, we're like, like you believe that shit, some of it's kind of whack. You know what I'm saying? And so until it makes 100% sense to us, that's just how we feel, right? I'm like trying not to speak for you, but I know
mostly like the computers aspect of it, the VanCura type stuff.
Yep. And so there's people in the community that are like me and Pat, but they're a little angry. You know what I'm saying? Like me and Pat, we're more agnostic. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But there's people in the neighborhood that have been waiting for this, this rich ass old preacher motherfucker that's scamming people. You know what I'm saying? Like they've been waiting for an opportunity because he's really been good on his P's and Q's for about 20 years now. If you think about it, right? He ain't cheated on his wife. He ain't killed nobody. There hadn't been any crazy controversy. They say you're the biggest and make a lot of money, but that's about as far as any scandal's gone. Right, exactly. And that's about as far as any scandal's gone. So there's been people waiting to point that fucking finger, right? And when you point a finger, you got 3 of them coming back at you. But there's been people waiting to point that finger at Joel, and I think that this was an opportunity for them to go, I told you that motherfucker was a crook, because I see my friends on Facebook that's what they're saying. I told you this motherfucker was a crook, like they've been waiting a long time to say that. And I'm not saying that he's a crook or he isn't. I'm saying he's looked at it from a businessman. It's too much liability, so he just fucking called it off. But You know, I saw D.L. Hughley and T.I. yesterday. You
saw
saw that on Instagram. If you look at T.I. or D.L. Hughley's Instagram, it says God didn't change that motherfucker's mind. Twitter did.
You know what I don't like about it, man? The one thing that I just want to get out there that I've been thinking about, man, it annoys me about the Facebook mobs that come out and get people. You know, it's a principle thing to me. Is like
you're using the syndicate for the wrong purposes.
Exactly. Let's just take away any argument about the fact that, you know, was it right or wrong for him to, you know, keep the doors closed or whatever. You still, I mean, to go beat down one dude to just because that's what's popular, that's what's on everybody's mind, that's what everybody wants to do to take out their anger and frustrations, that shit gets really old. And if I was Joel, I'd tell him to, I mean, honestly, it's a principle of the matter, and that principle needs to be, like, upheld. I would have told them to go fuck themselves, you know what I mean? But he wouldn't. Not tell the people to go fuck themselves, but just, you know, still not...
Stood your ground.
Stood my ground, yeah, till the bitter end on that one, because, I mean, that's a principle. Like, they can just go and mob anybody they want.
That's the problem. You keep giving... That's a good point. Like, there's a side... Like, you can't just keep giving motherfuckers their way, or they'll keep pushing.
They'll keep going.
How many people do we have, like, in our world that they, like, you do a favor for them, then they want another favor. Then they want another favor. Then they expect another favor after that. Yeah. And I found myself in that situation when I was in 7th grade. I grew up really poor. And your parents don't like to admit that, you know what I'm saying? But they, you know, if they had money, they damn sure didn't share it with me. And there was a girl in school who bought me lunch one day. And, you know, I'm a poor kid, don't have any money. The next day she bought me lunch again. The next thing you know, she's fucking probably bought my lunch for most part of the year. You know what I mean? And I never thought nothing of it. Just like you feed a cat, they always come back, you know what I'm saying? And so... It's the same thing. If somebody wins one of these battles, it's like, oh, we got Joel Osteen to change his mind. Like, who the fuck else can we get to change his mind? And it's funny, when you were explaining that, it was like you could, like, Trump and Joel Osteen in that story could have been interchangeable.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I'm saying? The only difference is Trump really would tell people to go fuck themselves because he's not worried about things. You know what I mean? But that's like the point, though. Is like
Joel's money. You know, his wallet convinced him to change his mind. You know, and that's a bad principle to have too.
I don't necessarily think that he didn't have. He said, "I don't have the staff to have."
That's true. Yeah, he has reason.
Like, you got to understand. Like, we got to have food. We got to have supplies. My place is already
That's true. That's true.
People come in there and a light falls on their head. They're suing me. I'm rich. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of liabilities involved. He opened his doors up. He was able to organize and get enough people in there to get it going. But I mean, I feel him on it at first. I'd been like, man, I don't know if I want these people.
You just want to think about it at least for a day or two.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, man, I was talking to Ryan about it. I was reading about the Superdome. I mean, it was horrible in there. People, they said they had shit on the walls. Women were getting raped. Dudes were walking around in their underwear. There was shit all over the floor. People were getting their stuff stolen. They said that one guy had everything of his was stolen by gang members or whatever that were in there. And he tried to run out in the street and drown himself. And they had to come, and the National Guard went out there and got him and tried to talk some sense into him and brought him back inside. One dude jumped off the 50 floor and killed himself. Right there, 50 feet up in the air, right there in front of everybody, because it was that bad. So I kind of understand Joel's mind of like,
we can't be having that over here at Lakeview Church today.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
The church is going to resume in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Can't be having murders and stuff like that going down in here. You know, that's on his conscience and in his place of business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I kind of feel him on that.
Oh, you wonder if anybody's ever died in one of his sermons. Surely. Somebody's died in the seat in his sermons. You know what I'm saying? Because they got so many people coming through there. Surely there's been an old person who's just like called to God there, sitting in the seat.
They probably get them out of there pretty quick though. Yeah. They're like, we got a code orange.
We got a code blue for blue hair. Yeah.
A code silver. A silver alert.
Silver alert.
Saucer over there. She's just
code C for cadaver.
She's full of the Holy Spirit right now. Let's get her on out of here. She's drunk.
Hey, preacher man, let's see you heal this shit. Let's see you go put some hands on this motherfucker.
That was too far gone. I can't say that way. There's a little bit more this way. Too far. I can't do that. Let's go ahead and get to that.
Oh no, it's their time right now.
Yeah, that's God calling me to tell her to go. Yeah,
God just stopped me. He said, "No, Joel, don't mess with that, Joel. Just let them
Joel, she's got a purpose.
Come home, Joel." Right, Daddy.
My daddy was telling me. So I seen this person on the news, man. You can look this shit up. They had an inflatable dam that saved their house.
Oh yeah.
So it was like a 3-foot inflatable dam that they put around. So like somebody was prepared.
Smart. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the thing with Houston was this wasn't just Houston. This thing hit from Corpus all the way to the Woodlands. And if you know anything about Texas, if you've been down there, that's fucking 130 miles or so inland. I mean, that's a long fucking ways. And
he had the inflatable thing 30 miles in.
I don't know where he was at, man, but the water was all around his house,
Really?
but his yard was dry as
I saw
shit.
the pictures, so I was like, that was
That's
interesting.
a pretty big house. So, I mean, I wonder how much he paid for that thing. And like,
Well, he said that he bought it from.
like, they
his
put
line-
a full dam around the whole
Here, I
city.
got it pulled up.
His line is like green.
Yeah.
Like, he's out there.
He's out there fucking drinking Corona with the fucking
grill it.
walking around in his underwear. Let's see here. It said that he
He's
bought
going
it.
over to it.
It said that he bought it in Louisiana. So somebody down there that's obviously had the experience has had the thing. Let's see here.
That's some mad preparation skills, right?
Absolutely. That's something I would never thought about buying in my bug out bag.
I think about it all the time in my house, because I'm in like a tall apartment,
Yeah.
high rise. So like, I think about the fact that over in London, one of those
can't
fucking
find
things
it.
caught on fire, and I'm telling you, everybody burned up.
Well, you
And this was
should
just
get
like
you
a
a
couple.
rope and a
That's what I'm gonna
grapple
get. I'm gonna get a rappel kit
Yeah,
on
have that by your
Amazon.
back window.
Start learning how to do it, learning what the jigs are and all that. I do a little rappel. I've done a little rappelling before, but
It's pretty fun.
I mean, to do like that many stories up, that's
How many stories up are you?
19.
Yeah.
So that's a long way down. Yeah, but hey,
You
it'd
better
be worth
get burned
it.
up though.
It's worth it. Yeah.
Go ahead and try that.
Yep. But you have people coming out on the window, like trying. Oh, was that a rope?
Snatching it from you.
Stay back.
You look up at 8 people in front of you with weak arms sliding down the rope.
That's kind of how it's like nature. For example, like when the boys were feeding those stingrays, there's probably 50 stingrays in that thing, and they like popping on top of each other for that 1 minute. Knowing, like stingrays are dumb animals, obviously, but like knowing that they feel like vagina, somebody's gonna feed them. You know what I'm saying, right? Like, that's just like if anything that feels like vagina is gonna get taken care of in this world, right? And so, but I mean, they're in the zoo, so they're getting fed, and then they're just wanting more. And it's kind of like you said, the cops were like, "Don't go down there, you get shot." You know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy how we can't just be single file. It's like, even when you get off a fucking airplane, I hate traveling. Every time I get done traveling, I'm so unnerved. You've been with me on plenty of trips where you're like, don't talk to Ryan if you get off the plane, he ain't trying to hear it. Because like people, like instead of just being calm and waiting in your seats, like people fucking rush through like those fucking stingrays and shit to get out of the airplane and stuff. It's like, we can't just be chill. You know what I mean? Like if there was everything in this world runs around order. And if you have order and if you just fall in, like the one person that's running up the plane fucks it up for everybody else trying to get off, right? But they're so self-centered, you know what I mean? And you can't turn around and knock the motherfucker out because then you can't fly no more, right? I mean, I feel like that should be a rule. It's like somebody rushes the plane, you should just be able to fucking, like, sorry about your luck, back to the back of the plane, first class having motherfucker.
Not in this day and age, man.
Not today. And so, but like that's how people are. I saw a picture down in Houston too, where it was a nice neighborhood, and it was like a bunch of dudes out front, and they all had their guns, and it said "drunks with guns, you loot, we shoot." And it's crazy because probably if you rolled up to those people and you asked them, you were like, "Hey man, can I get some food from you?" They'd probably give you the fucking food out of their pantry.
Yeah, yep.
Oh yeah.
And it's so crazy that people would rather like loot and stuff. I saw a dude run out of Walmart with a TV, and then he dropped the TV. It was like a big, like one of these. And he dropped the fucking TV. It wasn't even in the box. He just like took it off the thing, right? And he dropped the damn TV, and then he picked it up and still carried it up. I'm like, you dropped it. That motherfucker don't work no more, right? Like,
Everything.
These are new TVs.
Listen,
It's not the
crackhead,
box.
you fucked your fucking
That's
crack
not
up
even
for
the
the
item
day.
you should steal in an event like that.
Right.
You shouldn't steal anything, but like a TV.
Yeah.
You gotta run around with
You ain't got
60
electricity.
Yeah. Who wants to buy a TV? No one needs a TV.
Your house floated off, man.
There's guys down there selling cases of water for $100.
Yep.
Like not helping out, not being a good person, just $100 you want a case of water, and they're people are gonna have to pay it because they need the water. But while we were down there trying to get the boat running, people were like, the whole neighborhood was out there. It was kind of, well, I wouldn't say the whole, maybe about 20 people, and they were watching us, trying to help us. And one guy went and got us a drill, and he was like, "Can I get you guys some water? Y'all need something to eat or anything?" We're like, "No, we're good." And people were really down there,
Yep.
happy that we were from Dallas coming down here to help. And but then the other guy ran down there and said, "Don't go that way. You're going to die if you go that way," which that completely made sense.
What's y'all's take on that price gouging? Because I know that was a big topic lately.
In our sales group.
Sales group was talking about.
Well, so first of all, if you sell a case of water for $100 to people, like I get opportunity on one hand, but also there's like you could probably sell those cases for $30, still be pretty damn profitable, and it'd be okay. The thing is that picture they took of the gas station said, "Look, they're charging $8." The gas station wasn't open. That's why they put $8 on the thing so motherfuckers don't pull in there because they're not open. Just like when they opened the racetrack down the street for me, it said the price was $6 for a gallon of gas so that you didn't pull in expecting to get gas. That's just a deterrent that gas companies do when they're not open. And so that picture was bullshit.
So that's back to the mob mentality thing, man.
Exactly.
So
And
what's going to happen to our gas prices here with all the refineries?
gas has gone down, actually. Like the price of gas has actually gone down. The price of oil, rather, has gone down in the last few days, actually.
They said it's going to cost $50 billion. That's how much revenue Houston has lost for this week being underwater and how much it's going to cost to get repaired back up.
Well, so today I was listening to the radio on the way in. Like if I catch the radio, it's for like 30 seconds before my iPhone takes over the phone, right? I hate local radio. And it was on the Eagle, and they were talking about 22 companies pledged $11 million each. Google, JCPenney, well, you know, $11 million from Google and JCPenney and some of these places is like, you know, $100 to you guys. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they'll never miss it. It's a tax write-off. But I'm thinking if we do the math, okay, so we got 22 companies times 11, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's $242 million, right? Where does that money go? Because here's what I noticed in disasters, like Katrina, for example. They sent billions of dollars down there, and motherfuckers didn't get like free houses and shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the big thing with Houston is they say like up to 80% of those people don't have flood insurance because they weren't in a floodplain. And you know, insurance companies, like it's a delicate thing because President Trump is going to say, hey, this is obviously a natural disaster. Well, this is how big of fucking assholes the insurance companies are. They're arguing with the fucking government right now not to declare it a natural disaster so they don't have to pay out on it.
Jeez.
And so these companies are sending $250 million down there, but where's that going to go? Here's where it's going to go. It's going to go to their appointed people that fucking funnel the money, and it never fucking sees its way to any of the fucking Houston people. Right? It goes to fucking repair the J.C. Penney building down there and not fucking, you know, John and Penny's fucking home over in the Woodlands. And I think that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I really do. And I think insurance companies are fucking like a joke anyway, right? Like they really are because, you know, like I got in a wreck. Somebody hit me and they still haven't paid the damn claim yet. You know what I mean? And then we have to have lawyers arguing back and forth and shit like that. I paid insurance my entire life since I was 16 years old, a minimum of $200 a month. It's the first wreck I've been in my entire life. Who do you think should... I feel like they should fucking pay that bitch off really quick and move the fuck on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But like they're penny pinching and trying to fuck you. Yeah, but they try to fuck you. And I feel like these companies putting money down there and insurance companies backing out of it and all that shit. It's just a fucking... It's a ruse, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, we're good Samaritans, but really I'm just like fucking, that'd be like me saying, I'm gonna give $1,000 to people in Houston to help, and I'd be like, here, Josh, here's $1,000, man. Maybe you can help.
Appreciate it. Yeah. I'm gonna send you a case of water.
Yeah, I hope that helps.
$100
Exactly, that's the kind of shit, you know?
But I think that, man, enough people, Texas is huge. And when you think about it, if everybody in Texas could afford to give $4, $5 a piece, $10 a piece, we could do so much down there. How many people live in Texas?
I think 35 million.
So what is 35 million times $20 a piece? And then you got Kevin Hart out there. He's got all the celebrities donating $20,000 to $50,000 a piece to rebuild. He's challenged all the Rockets to donate money down there as well. I don't know where it's going to go, but we know that there's money coming.
J.J. Watt, he was doing something.
27.8 million.
There you go. And then how many billionaires are in Texas? Like the Hunt family.
A lot.
You said 27.8 million?
In just the state alone.
So, I mean, how much? And it's $50 billion, but it's $50 billion worth of damage,
right? Revenue
right?
and damage is $50 billion.
But revenue is different because revenue is like what it cost you that you didn't make.
No,
so that like damages is probably still significant, man. I mean, a building like this, if it was hurt, it might cost, you know, $5 or $10 million to redo the first floor. You know, it's crazy, man. I feel bad for those people, you know, and the biggest thing, like, you know, just like to lighten things up, the biggest thing I feel bad is because it's already humid in Houston. Wait till this water starts evaporating.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is going to be fucking miserable down there. I mean, Houston's already hot and humid anyway. Now with all this water, like, the repair process for the workers that go down there is just going to be fucking unbearable.
The drowned animals, things like that.
Fucking
out there,
the smell and all that shit's going to just be...
I'm going to go down there probably again and at least help with the cleanup since I didn't get a chance to help these guys that went back down there. It's going to be crazy. You know, Travis talked about when he was in Katrina, and he said, man, it's rough when you go, especially for the cleanup, because you don't know what's under that water.
Yeah, you don't. You know, and the thing about Texas is we're a cool state. There's no other state in the union like us. And, you know, I saw a video last night on YouTube where it was like 10 miles a line of people with boats going to help people in Houston. We don't fuck around down here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And up here in the north, we get tornadoes. And every time a tornado happens, you know, the South always takes care of us and offers fucking us places to go and things like that. So it's really cool. I don't feel like you would get that in any other state. I feel like if something happened in San Francisco, people in LA would be like, they're from the north, fuck them. You know what I mean? Like, they can deal with their own shit. You know, I just don't feel like there's that camaraderie. But there's like guys like, if you read the book by Chris Kyle, who was the sniper guy, American Sniper, he talks about when they were at war over in Iraq, they didn't fly the American flag, they flew the Texas flag on their tank. Really? You know what I mean? If you listen to Marcus Luttrell and his podcast, they talk about flying the Texas flag on the back of their Jeeps and shit when they were over in Iraq and stuff too. It's like, there's something about this state. You know what I mean? That's one of the reasons I stay here. You know, I could live anywhere. I really could. I could go live in another country, but there's just something about, and there's something about this state that even when you go to a place like New York, who doesn't favorably really care for Texas too much because we play their football team and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? But even then, they're like, oh yeah, you're from Texas? They know you're a serious person when you're from down here, and they know you're a good-hearted person, you know what I mean?
Texas, don't mess with them.
Exactly, right?
It's always been kind of like on the outskirts, even of like the United States. It's always been kind of its own little thing, kind of neutral, you know?
Weren't we like the last state to join or something like that?
We didn't join the Confederacy, man. What happened was when we were in the Civil War, a lot of people think Texas was part of the Confederacy, and by like definition it was, but Sam Houston, our governor at the time, he refused to join the Confederate deal. We weren't a slave state, you know what I mean? And he refused to join it, and they fucking overpowered us, the Confederate did, and then fucking made us join into the fight. But like, we refused to fight because we were like, hey man, like, we just finished fucking with Mexico down here. Y'all can deal with them Yankees up there, man. Like, we got our own thing going on over here. We're trying to be our own country and shit.
And we got everything down here too. I mean, you've got a mixture of everything. You got Austin. We got from Austin to the college there to Alex Jones is out of there. I mean, we're
like
insane.
The 8th biggest economy in the world. I think it's something crazy like that.
Yeah, I think Texas has said that up until now, we have like 5 of the top 10 cities to live in North America. Texas. Where are you from? Texas. I
guess you wouldn't see an Ohio flag on the back of the tank.
You know what? You're right. You really don't see anybody else that's like. And New Yorkers are proud, you know. And you know what I'm saying?
Fly the American flag.
But they fly an American flag. They don't fly a New York flag. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what, like, they're just different kind of people than we are. Like, I don't think 9/11 would have happened if dudes were on our plane down here and there's a bunch of Texas guys on the plane. Like, no, buddy, that shit ain't happening today.
At the box
cutter. You know, Mark Wahlberg said that, and they got all fucking bent out of shape at him. And he's like, but the motherfuckers had box cutters. Nobody, you know what I'm saying? I felt like I would at least have stood up, but you never know, man.
People get mad.
They don't even eat every day. Like, they're not strong.
I mean, it's a box. A box cutter. Yeah, they're gonna get you.
Fuck you up.
You're gonna get
slice your face open. But I mean, you take the slice, I punch him in the throat. You know what I mean? Like, we're not gonna burn to death.
I think this would work better if you took the slice. I punched him in the throat.
No,
I didn't call you.
No, I just probably
Ryan gets him in the headlock.
Throw my computer at him.
Somebody's got to take the slice.
Yeah, Texas is the only so it would be the 9th biggest economy in the world.
Wow.
Just our state, just not our country, just our state would be the 9th biggest economy. 1.26 trillion a year comes out of this bitch.
Well, we also promote big business. We let people make money here. We don't try to take all your damn money whenever you make money. We don't punish people for creating wealth. You know what I mean? That's why people love it here.
They try. You know, the thing is, like, for political standpoints, the Democrats, they always raise taxes, and Republicans are always trying to lower and pro-business, right? And like the worldview would be Democrats are pro-people, Republicans are pro-business, right? And the thing with Texas, though, is you can only, the legislation, they only legislate, like the House, the Senate, all that shit, they only legislate for 30 days, or sorry, we looked it up, 60 days every 2 years. And so in California, for example, you can go, hey man, you know, somebody fucked my old lady without a condom, she gave me herpes, and you can be like, well, let's pass a law where everybody has to wear condoms, right? And then fucking we can legislate that shit, right? We burn up tax dollars, we're in there fucking writing fucking things and passing them over to the governor to sign and shit like that. Texas, it don't work that well. They'd be like, sorry about your problem, we're gonna debate Planned Parenthood again for the 10th year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so everybody thinks we're fucking morons down here because they're always arguing over abortion. Hey, I'm telling you right now, people watching this, We argue over abortion every year so that none of the other bullshit comes into fucking play, right? If we can fucking stall over abortion, then we don't have business laws being put in place. We don't have mandatory minimums and fucking stupid ass. Now, side note is that we haven't been able to get marijuana on the ballot here. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because they're busy debating. But they use the abortion thing to fucking tie up that Senate for 45 days every 2 years. No new laws are passed, and it's fucking no man's land down here.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? If you go get a cow and you put it in your apartment, and if somebody tries to steal your cow, you can hang them from your balcony legally. Still. One cow.
I like that.
One cow, all you got to do is get a cow.
Some cows.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fucking cattle rustler. Right, hanging from the back.
Imagine someone trying to walk a cow downstairs. Come on.
So like it's wobbling.
Longhorn and shit. Texas is cool though, man. You know, like we keep our shit pretty tight. You know, I had some customers from California once, and they were in my office, and we were talking about the kid was like, he was like 20, and he was all excited. They had just moved here. He was like, man, I can't wait to go shoot some guns. And his mom was like, ew, I can't believe you guys are even talking about guns.
They were from where?
They're from California. I was like, well, you know, this is Texas. Like, what do you want to, like, if someone breaks into your house, what are you going to do? You're going to pray to God, and you're going to call somebody with a gun to come help you. Why not just have the shit yourself? Yep. You know what I mean? Texas, we have it all. We got money, we got guns, we got cows, we got oil, we got steak.
Hot women.
And hot women.
Yep.
With booties.
Yep, booties. That's important. And C-rays that feel like vaginas.
And then yeah.
You know, you're right though. It's like guns. Like my son Jax, he's 5 years old, and you know he sees you guys with guns and stuff. And he's like, "They got guns, Dad." I'm like, "You don't have to whisper. They have licenses for these things. Like they can carry them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's okay." And he's like, "Are you sure?" But like somewhere along the line that he learned that guns weren't. And what's crazy is I'm 37. If like you didn't have guns when I walked through the front door of your house and you didn't have a gun cabinet in the living room, like who the fuck is this guy? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? The fuck he ain't from here. You know what I mean? Like But now everybody hides their guns and shit. They've like the government's always threatening to take them. Some motherfuckers like I don't want you to know I got them. But back in the day, a gun safe or a gun cabinet was like your fucking couch.
Well,
it was like a
piece.
decor. Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna get a gun safe this week.
Exactly.
Y'all going to pick y'all's out.
The trades day.
Go down and get mama a gun case. But man, like. I was watching in California on YouTube the other day, and they were talking about like, hey, we have this, come drop off these guns, no questions asked, and we're gonna give you $100 per gun. And I saw people, they were like, well, we have these rifles and pistols in our house, and we just didn't feel safe with them, so we're bringing them. And these are like good-looking like Americans that look like 700.
Like you could trust them with a gun, yeah.
And he's like, my grandkids, I don't want them getting around these guns. So we're taking them up here and getting them off the streets. And they're like, they're not in the streets, they're in your home. The guns that are on the street, you want guns in your house so that you can defend yourself against the guns that are in the street. But dudes are dropping off rocket launchers, Uzis, and stuff like that.
Where the fuck do you get a rocket launcher?
I don't know.
Grandpa. Dan Bilzerian?
But they're only giving you $100 for them. So dudes are dropping off AR-15s and getting $100 for them.
Man, I'd have stood out front and been like, I'm going to give you 200.
Right here. Yeah. They have police out there, no questions asked. So you could be, like, gang members could be dropping off dirty guns and stuff like that.
Okay, so they're going to let it go.
And like, yeah, man, we're going to clean the streets up.
That's probably a good idea for them. Just go drop off the ones that are hot.
Yeah.
But they're saying clean the streets up, but it was majority of people they interviewed were like good-looking, upstanding American citizens.
Criminals don't fucking give up their guns.
No.
Like, I'm not giving up my shit. Roscoe, we're gonna rob me next week. You know
and I feel like those people were like staged too. It's like, we're gonna give you some guns to donate. Kind of like when you go to church or you go to a seminar and you know that like somebody's like staged. It's like, okay, now get up and run to the stage. And you're like, that dude's ran to the stage every day. He already has the program. What the fuck?
The Holy Ghost every
yeah, he can't. Right, she's always fucking on some shit. Yeah.
You remember Chris Angel, Mind Freak, and like all that shit was all set up, was staged from the beginning, but. It's not like the news hasn't been staging stuff anyways that we've seen. Like, you can go on YouTube and see, like, them staging so much stuff right now. So.
Man, Chris Angel makes a lot of money.
He did.
A lot of money. He's still fucking making. He was on.
He's in Vegas now or something.
Yeah, he's at the Luxor. I went to the Luxor one time, and I came out front, and he had his Lamborghini out front. And on the inside of my brake pads, you can see them on the Maserati. They have like the Maserati logo on them. His shit said Chris Angel. I'm like, fuck, dude, you know you're a pimp when you got your name on your brake pads on your Lambo. Yeah.
Oh, they were on the brake pads?
They were on the brake pad. On the brake pad,
yeah. The brake pedal.
No, on the brake pads on the outside of the car, they all said Chris Angel.
But who thinks about doing that? I don't know.
But it was like a cool, subtle thing, though. But on a Lambo, those brake pads are big, so you can see them through the wheel pretty good. So he had like an Aventador, I think, so...
That's that money right there.
Yeah, 600 G's. Speaking of which, I bought this program that tells you how to buy exotic cars and how to do it correctly. And so the guy's logic was if you go buy a Honda Accord for 30 grand, and you buy a 2-year-old Honda Accord for 30 grand. When you drive in another 2 years, it's all of a sudden worth 15. So you've lost $15,000, dollars in this Honda Accord if you were to buy it and trade it in. If you were to lease it, you lost all your payments, right? It might be another 15 or whatever, right? If you buy a Ferrari, and me and Pat were looking at this yesterday, you buy a Ferrari, Lamborghini, McLaren, or whatever, you can get like a 2011 Ferrari, let's say a Ferrari California 2011 for 110 grand, right? You can, with let's say 5,000 miles on it, 110 grand. A 2008 Ferrari with 10,000 miles on it is like 105 grand. So you only lost like $5,000 and you can drive it for 2 years, which is cheaper than if you had the fucking Accord anyway. And so there's this chart that I looked up and it shows you depreciation on vehicles. You can go on Kelley Blue Book and look it up. And so if you look like an exotic car, Lamborghini, you buy it for 600 grand, 3 years later it's worth 300 grand, and it just kind of hovers around 300 grand for 5 years. But if you bought it at that 3-year mark where you got it half off and then you drove it for those 3 years before it fucking dipped, man, you can it's like almost like buying a stock. But I didn't realize exotic cars work like that because most people think you lease them because they're expensive.
Yeah.
You don't want to lease them, right? Because I've called the dealerships a few times because I don't know that I'm ready to pull the trigger on a car. I don't have the garage space for it. I'd give you the Maserati if I did, but on the other hand, it's like, yes, I'll take it.
I'll take it.
On the other hand, I don't think that I live in the neighborhood for that kind of car yet either, right? I need a little bit bigger house first. But I see these as an asset. My daily driver is that Ford truck. So, I only take the Maserati now 1 or 2 days to work and date night or some shit like that, right? So I could see that like being a good investment in a car if you're like me and you only put 5 miles a day on your vehicle or whatever. So it's interesting.
You're right up the street anyways from here, so, I mean.
Yeah.
It'd be your vehicle just to pull up in, you know what I mean? Just your pull-up car.
I told Amy that, and she's like, imagine that. The rich people don't take losses on their cars like poor people do. I'm like, rich people don't take losses on shit. That's like part about being rich, you know what I mean? Like
on, what was the movie with Eddie Murphy when he was breaking stuff? So I can break this? And he broke it. And he was like, we just lost $10,000. Actually, we insured it for $20,000. We made $10,000. Y'all want to bring something else? No.
What movie is that, man? Trading Places, yeah.
I'll watch that for Christmas.
Morty, we're back.
That wasn't Coming to America.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But those are the dudes from Trading Places. Yeah, that's
Mortimer,
right.
Mortimer.
Yeah.
We're back.
That's funny, man. That was back when Jamie Lee Curtis was kind of hot.
Super
you know what I'm saying?
Actually.
She was pretty hot in her little whore uniform that she had on there, right? That's what she was like a prostitute too. Yeah.
With a heart of gold, though.
Prostitute, a toot with a heart of gold.
Toot with a heart of gold. How many of those do you know?
That's a rare find. That's a diamond in the rough.
Diamond in the rough. I'm looking for one. No, I'm joking.
What do you think about would be your ideal next level car to step up to, man?
That's a good question. I've been
if you're going to do it this way with the investment.
I've been thinking about that because on one hand, it's like all your life, guys, you wanted like the Lambo or the McLaren or like the fucking supercar. You know what I mean?
Man.
Right, all your life you've wanted like that supercar, you know what I mean? That fast exotic. It's like, dude, I got fucking. But man, that's not really my personality type. I'm more of like a luxury guy, and but I'm not a Rolls Royce fan. Right, it's just too big of a damn car. My buddy Dustin has one. I love riding in it, and if I had chauffeur money, I'd definitely have somebody chauffeur me around in one. But I wouldn't. And Dustin drives a truck too. The Rolls Royce is like pick people up from the airport.
It's a boat though. It's like Marshall's was the same.
Same with Marshall. Yeah,
he's
got a Rolls Royce.
Heavy ass car, isn't it?
It
Like
is very
super
heavy.
Solid. And
it's like driving a land yacht. I drove Frank Kern's Range Rover Rolls Royce. And it was like fucking driving Travis's boat, man. You just like,
But he said it's like the last car you'll ever need to buy, though, too, right?
Yeah.
That's what I want.
But the thing is,
no, I want a Rolls Royce Wraith.
But that's what I drove. That's what Frank had. But what I like, man, it's the Ferrari. And I like the Ferrari, the California, like the cruiser car. Yeah. It's not the supercar. It's like they're replacing it with the Portofino, which is their new thing that's coming out. So I'm probably going to be able to grab one of these Californias on that 3-year dip pretty soon. As soon as the Portofino launches, that'll be the popular car. There'll be an influx of these Californias that they want to trade, and I'll be able to snatch one up pretty cheap, I think. And that or an Aston Martin Vanquish, which is still both of them are very fast V8 cars, right? So they're super fast cars. They're going to both of them be faster than my Maserati, but they're elegant looking as opposed to like a race car. Because I looked at a McLaren. Remember, I almost bought one last year.
Yep.
And but the inside of it was like a fucking four-wheeler. I mean, there wasn't much in the way of a radio. There wasn't much in the way of any kind of luxury. It's like a small seat with a 4-point harness, and you're just like, go, you know. And even Elgin that had the P1 that was my neighbor, his shit was like that too. You know, his was the most decked out. It was a $2 million McLaren. It was the most decked out P1 that they had ever made at the time. And even in there, it's like, you know, there wasn't Bluetooth and shit like that.
It's like a go-kart.
Yeah, it's like a fucking
on
go-kart.
On that class, on that training, that was the one that he actually had a problem with, you know, and had certain types of issues.
You watched
with
it too?
I did watch it, yeah. So that, I mean, you probably dodged a bullet on that one to begin with. You know?
Yeah, because he said he had a $60,000 transmission issue.
Yeah,
with
it
one
was
of them,
like
right?
a huge...
You know, Mercedes, their high-end cars are, you know, stupid nice. You know, the new Coupe S-Class, you know, $150,000. It's got I think it's a V10 or V12 or something stupid in it. And the interior's ridiculous. They got fragrances that the car will produce for you. And the ambient lighting actually goes all the way around the dash, down the doors. I mean, I think that right there is a
digital
great purchase.
dash.
Well, no, the digital dash, that's the big screen. Yeah, the big digital dash. But I'm talking about the ambient lighting. Like, you know, in our trucks, we have the cup holders light up, stuff like that. But theirs actually has a light strip that goes across the dash and down all the doors.
Like kit. like on the inside.
I think that right there is like your
hookup.
really good compromise, luxury interior, but still got that badass sport engine, you know?
Yeah, you know, I rode and a friend it was last year for New Year's, I rode and a friend had a S600, right?
Yeah.
The SL, is that what you're talking about?
6.3.
And it had all that shit in it, man. It was really nice, but I got a problem with Mercedes, man, because like, I feel like Mercedes are kind of like, or probably our audience is going to get a little mad, but like I feel like kind of like a douchebag car, because like a lot of people, they don't know better, so it's like the first thing they go buy. And Mercedes, you know, the reason why I like Maseratis and Ferraris and things of that nature is because they make $20,000 Mercedes. You know what I'm saying? And sure, we know the difference between a fucking C-Class and a S-Class, obviously, but they still make that. You know what I mean? And so, and a lot of people don't notice the difference. And so I just I see people all the time. It's like first thing they do, real estate agents or bankers, they go out and they buy a Benz, and I'm like, man, it's just kind of a rookie move.
It seems lazy like a rookie move. It's just like, okay, I'm supposed to get this car. This is the staple car. I'm just supposed to go get.
Yeah. And the truth is, they ride like shit. I took them in trade all the time when I drove them to the car wash and took them in trade all the time. And at the car wash, I hated them because they were the hardest interiors to clean. Because they use really cheap carpet versus like a Ford or a Lexus. And those are really easy carpets to clean. And then at the dealership, I hated it because every time you take your foot off the gas, they just basically stop. Yeah, they just stop. I'm like, bitch, I still want to roll. Take the gear off. Yeah.
But it's funny because, like, you know, living in Uptown and working in Uptown,
they're everywhere.
People would come in there and be like, I drive a Benz. And I'm like, oh, really? What do you got? And they're like, a C-Class, C230. And it's like, well, you don't really drive a Benz. You know what I mean? Like,
you drive a Daimler.
Like, you drive a Volkswagen, right?
Really.
They smell like the Volkswagen
they use fake
blues.
leather. In the base models, they don't use real leather. And they use that German plastic.
The German glue. The glue.
They kind of smell like crayons to me.
That's it. Yeah, it's the glue. And then summertime, it gets really
hot.
really potent. Yeah.
And
I like the smell though. I like crayons. Yeah,
I
used to
bite
crayons.
I bet you used to eat glue in kindergarten, didn't you?
Glue, crayons,
like Billy Madison over there licking the paste.
those entry level
pencils too.
cars, that's a big deal, man. Everybody, they go get 3 Series and 1 Series, and it's funny because like if a dude, like I'm short, so like if I hop out of like a C-Class, I don't look that weird. But when you're like 6'4" and you're like I drive a Benz and you're hopping out of a C-Class, you look like you're out of a clown car. And it looks funny. Like if you're that big and you want to say you drive a Benz, go get at least an E. Go get at least a 5 Series. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't be buying a little C-Class. And you're right. It kind of does, you know, tarnish the image of the Mercedes. You know, you're thinking Mercedes. I'm thinking, when I think of Benz, I'm thinking the $100,000 Benz.
Right.
I'm not thinking.
See, I think the $30,000.
See, I don't. You know what I mean? But that's because that exists, though. I understand your point of view.
Well, you know, it's like when you come into the Ford dealership and you got bad credit, but you really want a Ford, we're going to put your ass in an Escape because they got the biggest gap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I feel like those C-Classes and you know, the fucking small little coupes that they have for Benz, like, oh, you own a Benz? Hey, we got you over here. And they got like a big markup in them, you know what I mean? So that they can be like, yeah, you're a douchebag and you don't pay your bills. We'll put you in a C-Class. You know what I'm saying?
And you could say I have a Benz.
Yeah, and then you can tell people I have a Benz.
When you're driving a Fusion price car,
I have a Benz.
More car on a Fusion.
Right.
I'll have you know I have a Benz now.
Yes. I believe I am important.
You see his keys here?
What do you think is like?
They're really gonna hate us for that.
and they are, right? They're probably like these assholes because a lot of people drive Benzes, but just know that people are judging you. But let's think. So what is a good like entry car? So like not an entry car, but let's say you're making $150,000 a year. What's a car that signifies, or vehicle, period, that signifies that like you are successful, but you're not a douchebag?
Platinum F-150, King Ranch F-150.
Fucking A, man. I'll take F-150 all day, every day.
Number one vehicle driven by millionaires, and especially in Texas, is the F-150. The richest people I've ever seen come to the dealership. One dude has a McLaren, the one that's $1 million.
P1.
P1, F1. Yep. He comes there, he's like, he had that, and then he bought an F-150. That's his daily driver. He has a McLaren.
That's the damn
he has
truth.
James Bond's Aston Martin in his garage. And he's like, I don't drive that shit. I drive an F-150 every day. Right? And the dude's
they talk about a car that's a panty dropper or whatever, but if you have a truck
in Texas,
it's done. It's done. So.
Changed my whole
Dude,
life.
people know us, like, because they're like, oh, you motherfuckers drive trucks.
Yeah,
they know that Travis and you and me and Ryan, we all got trucks. They're like, you know.
Yeah, I'm with you all on that too. I'm like, yeah, that's all in on that one. But the F-150 is like a luxury item, man. It drives like it's so smooth.
Dude,
I have an XLT and it's still nice. Like your shit is no. You have a Lariat. I have an XLT.
No, you have a Lariat. I have a Platinum.
No, I have an XLT still.
Yours is a Lariat.
That's what we thought too, but it's definitely an XLT, man.
You sure yours is the Lariat Sport Package?
Positive, man. I'm positive. Mine is an XLT. Well, yeah. But you have a Platinum, which is super fucking nice. You know what I'm saying? Like your shit's nicer than most Benzes.
Yeah, that's what
and it's comparable in price. Well, you got like a $70,000 truck or something.
Or something like that.
I think the technology is even better than a Benz.
I got massaging seats. My truck, I was showing my girl, I push the button and it literally parallel parks itself. I don't have to do anything. You know what I mean?
My cars do that, but I'm scared. All my cars do that. I'm scared.
It's too much control to the robots.
Yeah, it's too much control for me.
If you're talking about 150 grand a year, and let's say you don't want to drive a truck. Now, are you 150 grand a year with a family or 150 grand a year single dude?
Either way, you know what I'm saying? But let's say one person earns 150 grand. I think that an Escalade's a good vehicle.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Escalade signifies like as long as you can't get a black Escalade because Uber fucked that up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't get a black Escalade, but I feel like if you get an Escalade, that's something that's like, hey, you know what? I'm established. You know what I mean? Some nice shit, not too douchey. And
yours is white, right?
Mine's white.
Pearl?
Yeah.
Yep. S7 I like.
S7.
S7, the Audi S7.
What's that? Audi is a good one. Audi's a nice car.
You can't. They have the $30,000
Audi is a nice fucking car. Yeah, but they're nice cars though.
Yeah.
They really are. And Audi only makes like what 4 models.
No,
I mean they've got the little car, the A4, the A6, the A8, the A7, and the A3. So they got 5 models in an SUV, 2 SUVs. So they got like 7 models, but Audi's still a good enough car to where it's like it's on the playing field with Benz and BMW.
They killed them.
But I don't know. I don't have that same D-bag association. And BMW I think is for chicks. I love like BMW just seems like
the i7? The i7 though, that thing is
What's
cool.
that?
The i8?
The i8's the one that's
hybrid one, or I don't know if it's electric or hybrid, but like the Lamborghini shape.
You've seen it before.
The BMW? From the BMW you're talking about? Yeah, my neighbor had one of those.
Those are awesome.
I love that blue, man.
They're electric, right?
Yeah, that thing is pretty tight. That's something I would mob.
That thing is.
But I like the
that
Grand
white one. I mean,
my neighbor had one that looked just like that.
So you would think this is more like a chick car, though?
Yeah, she was a chick. Yeah, she was a chick. My neighbor that had it was a chick. But like BMW is like a women's car. But the reason why I have that perception though is that my mom and my sister, they always had BMWs. They always leased BMWs, so that could have something.
Well, they
to
make
do
those.
with it,
They make 2 or 3 chick cars. They make the little X3 SUV, which a bunch of women buy.
The little 2-door 323i.
Make the little 2-door 3.
Will I Am drives one, so it might be a more effeminate car. Yeah.
No, that car's awesome.
Will be like I'm a
Cruise
BMW.
Oh, he drove one.
Tom Cruise had that. That was the one that he drove in the.
Tom Cruise is tiny though, man.
It
like he can
matter,
fit in this
but
bottle.
He's a bad motherfucker.
Like if you rub on this, Tom Cruise is gonna come out green. So wish.
Hey, what's up, Josh?
Have you talked to anybody about Scientology today?
Oh my God, no. You get punched in the face. But that car is dope. But I would say, like, if I were a single dude, 150 grand a year, that my starter car, if I wasn't going to drive an F-150, would probably be the A7, or I like those Porsche Panameras. Those are pretty sweet too.
Yeah,
Panamera.
Porsche is good. But those are expensive, man. Those Panameras ain't cheap.
I'm almost on that one board because I've been seeing them, and I'm like, they do look pretty clean, especially like a white one. Then it's like
get a black
one.
They're just really big. Like Big Sky let me drive his, and they're like.
Oh, you're talking about the Panamera?
Yeah, they're just huge.
The new ones are nice. The 2018s are sick. They changed the body style on them.
They're player, and I would say Corvette, but I feel like you got to be 40 plus to drive a Corvette, in my opinion.
And live in the country. Like Corvettes are like, if you live in the country, they're the car that can get you back to the city fast. But there's like a lot of people that live in a trailer house and then have a Corvette. I feel like that's kind of I like Corvettes. They're cool cars, right? They're fast, they're badass. But I feel like there's a lot of D-bags that gravitate towards that too, because you're like, I want some American muscle, right? So not D-bags, there's like a mullet wearers. Like,
my perception of the Corvette is that it's actually like a midlife crisis car.
Yeah,
When I was like 23, 24, I was like, I can get one and get away with it right now if I get one. But
no, I feel like the dudes who drive Corvettes, for the most part, even the new body style, the Stingray is probably one of the best looking American sports cars ever built. Yeah. It's a beautiful car. I'm not hating on it at all. It's bad. I work for Chevy. Yeah. It's a badass car. But I just feel like you got to be like 45.
That's
it. That's like you got a truck and you got your Corvette, and it's like, I've been working my whole life to be able to get a Corvette. Now I got one. You know what I mean? And like, I drive it on the weekends.
I keep it real clean.
Yeah, keep it real clean.
I think the king douche car though is the Mustang. Right, like everybody that drives a Mustang, like you can even go on YouTube and you can search Mustang douchebags, and it's like wreck after wreck of like assholes driving. To do like, the other day I'm driving down the tollway and this Mustang, and I'm in the Maserati, right? So I'm probably doing 80, and this Mustang like trying to fucking be a dick, and like I'm doing 80 because the cop in front of me is doing 85, right? Yeah. And the Mustang guy's such a dumbass, he didn't even see there was a cop in front of me, instantly got pulled over. And I thought to myself, I was like, I bet cops are like, there's a fucking dumbass in a Mustang, let's get him. You know what I'm saying?
That Stang.
There you go.
Those Stang guys.
Yeah. Because, I mean, they're cheap cars. They're $25,000, $30,000 for a Mustang for 5.0.
No.
For 5.0 is 28 grand, or at least when I sold them. So
for base model manual transmission, right. Yeah. But I mean, they go up to 50 grand for not even.
Yeah, you get like Cobras and shit like. What is the Laguna Secas that they
don't make those anymore? But those are badass though. Back when you were selling cars, yeah, they made those. Those were really badass. But those were like 60 grand plus 5 or 10 grand over sticker. But like a good loaded GT is gonna be like 43 grand.
Dude, can you guys believe that we've been at this shit for an hour? We're like,
we're on 3%.
Yeah, we're almost out of battery power here. The camera guy's like, all right, we're gonna have to take an intermission. So, but let's just crash out on this one, man. So it's our inaugural episode, just shooting the shit, you know. Yeah. And it seemed like we had pretty good, conversation, man. It's pretty easy flows. You guys weren't too nervous. I was kind of worried that I was gonna have to carry you. I know you talk a lot, so I'm worried about
smoking
you.
Before.
So, I think we should do these a couple times a week. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
So you watch this, you enjoy it, leave us some comments, vote with your likes and everything else. Let us know that we should continue to do this. Let us know what you'd like to see us talk about. Send us some topics at the American Entourage page on Facebook, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks for hanging.
Peace.
Peace, y'all.